right. Hail Christ, hail victory. So, wow. I should turn on the light here. There we go. There we go. I'm going to go over Revelation 13, and then I'll touch on Revelation 17 and 18, and we're going to talk about the Antichrist, the false prophet, Babylon, the false messianism of the latter times, of the very end. Okay? Now, a lot of people, and we could be dogmatic about several things in Scripture that are very clear. When it comes to deciphering who these figures are that I've mentioned, it takes careful examination and I believe a flexible perspective. So we're going to go to Revelation 13. All right. So this is, you see this in movies. These subjects are popular to talk about on YouTube, on social media. Some churches really talk about this a lot that are really into end time stuff. They base almost their whole church life on this end time stuff. And I think it's good to read these things with all of history in view instead of trying to neatly fit it into, well, this is the Antichrist, this is the false prophet, this is Babylon. And I'll give you my view on these things. I'll give you my view on what these figures are, or who I think they are. And so we go to Revelation 13. I stood upon the sand of the sea and saw a beast rise up out of the sea, having 7 heads and 10 horns, and upon his horns 10 crowns, and upon his heads the name of blasphemy. Now, when you read other chapters in Revelation, this is a future beast from John's point in time, okay? But it has the features of all the beasts throughout history, Babylon, Medo Persia, Greece, Rome, pagan Rome. And the beast which I saw was like unto a leopard, and his feet were as the feet of a bear, and his mouth as the mouth of a lion, and the dragon gave him his power and a seat and great authority. Okay, so Satan inspires this beast kingdom. Okay, this resurrection of all the beasts, 4 beasts that are in Daniel together, right? And I saw one of his heads as it were wounded to death, and his deadly wound was healed, and all the world wondered after the beast. So this, I believe that this beast, because right here it's describing a military political beast, but I believe there's one man that heads it up. This is what we would describe as the Antichrist. And later on, you talk about the false prophet. That's the beast of the earth, and I believe that's representing a religious system. Now, like I said, we got to qualify when we say things about identifying who this is, right? Because we have to be humble and admit that we don't know for sure, but we can look at the trends, okay? And so this first beast is a very powerful military political beast system that, according to the book of Revelation, is going to cover the whole earth, right? And this singular Antichrist figure, because it is singular, John the Apostle said there were many Antichrists, but he said there was one to come. Paul identifies the man of sin. So there's a singular Antichrist. And it's described as singular later on, but that singular antichrist heads a system, though, a government. So same with the false prophet. This false prophet has a religious system, but is a singular person. And I'll give my views on who I believe both are. My take on the mark of the beast, Babylon the Great. And I'll read some of the study notes here. It's pretty good stuff. And what we got to do is avoid, because maybe we're part of a certain denomination and we have angst towards another denomination, we got to avoid labeling, oh, they're the Antichrist and false prophet, because that's a biased view. So I try to step outside of that and say, okay, let's see what best fits this beast, these two beasts. So there's a deadly wound that's healed, and all the world wondered after the beast. Could be, I don't think this is literal, like where this Antichrist gets shot in the head and all that. No, I think it's the wound, the healing of a wound of something that has existed before that doesn't anymore. It could be, and what I think it the resurrection of a earthly king, not a literal resurrection of an earthly king that was passed away, but the resurrection of a system, of a monarchy in a certain place that I believe is central to where the Antichrist will reign from. Okay, and they worship the dragon, which gave power unto the beast, and they worship the beast, saying, who is like unto the beast, who is able to make war with him. So this beast is going to be able to sway people, and out of sincerity, but also out of fear, because a lot of people are just going to give in, saying, who can make war with him? And there was given him a mouth to speak great things, and blasphemies, and power was given unto him to continue 42 months. And he opened his mouth and blasphemed, and in blasphemy against God, to blaspheme his name and his tabernacle, and to them that dwell in heaven. Well, this is significant because I believe Satan's whole goal is to set up an earthly worship system here on earth that tries to take the place of the heavenly sanctuary in heaven. The Bible makes it clear that the sanctuary in heaven is the true tabernacle of God, that he pitched and not man. This is where the blood of Christ was sprinkled on the mercy seat of heaven to fulfill the day of atonement forever, bringing the new and better covenant. I believe this all has to do with this attempt to set up a false messianic worship system in Jerusalem. Okay. The early church fathers, many of them believe that this future Antichrist would claim to be the Son of God, which is a Davidic kingship title, which is who our Lord is. Our Lord is the Son of the only begotten Son of God, and he is our now reigning Davidic king. Okay. However, when we read the other parts of the Revelation, we see that this is a system of government that spreads over the whole earth. Okay. So Babylon the Great is just, you think of it as the world, right? Think of it as the world. Babylon the Great, think of it as the world. It encompasses the whole world. Okay. But it will be headquartered in a certain location. And if you see the trends, if we are in the very end times, we've always been in the end since Christ's first advent, then you have to see where the trends are going. If we are at that point, okay, who is the nation right now that is pretty much an empire? It's America. And what is a big thing that America is doing right now? Well, they are trying to prop up Israel as a world power. And Israel is. Israel and America right now are joined at the hip. And ultimately, I believe the Antichrist has to rule from Jerusalem to claim the title of Christ, which would be Davidic king and king of Israel, which are Jesus titles. Therefore, he would have to claim what Jesus is to be the Antichrist. Okay. And he's going to try to set up some type of worship system in earthly Jerusalem. Now, I don't know if that means a rebuilt temple will have to happen, or will they set up some other type of tabernacle to do sacrifices. And that is the blasphemy against God, his name, and the tabernacle and those that dwell in heaven. Okay, because that's where the true tabernacle is. Any setting up of a tabernacle here on earth to do sacrifices is an abomination, because it disrespects the sacrifice of Christ. And it was given unto him to make war with the saints, so he'll persecute Christians, and to overcome them. It's going to appear that he has defeated them. Power was given him over all kindreds and tongues and nations. So again, this is a worldwide government. Okay, even though it's headquartered out of Jerusalem, likely it is a worldwide government. Okay. And this worldwide Babylonian system, or Mystery Babylon the Great, includes both the political military, which is what the Antichrist rules over as the false king, and a religious system, where you have the false prophet, right? So it's going to be like a king and priest situation. Okay. And all that dwell upon the earth shall worship him, whose names are not written in the book of life of the Lamb slain from the foundation of the world. So he will be worshipped. He will be worshipped. He will be honored. And this worship that he will get, people will worship him by saying that he is the King of Israel. That's all they'll have to do to worship him, is acknowledge that he is the King of Israel. And why is it worship? Because only Jesus Christ has the title of King of Israel, nobody else. That's what they'll think. They're not worshiping him as they're worshiping God, but they really are, because they're acknowledging him as the legit King of Israel, even though he's not legit. If any man have an ear, let him hear. He that leadeth into captivity shall go into captivity. He that killeth with the sword must be killed with the sword. Here is the patience and faith of the saints. So the persecution of Christians during this time will be severe. You'll be led into captivity. You'll be killed with the sword. God will avenge that, though. Okay. We have to have patience, because this will not be for us to avenge during that time. It will be God to do it. The church will go through its passion. The passion of Christ, his death and resurrection, ascension into heaven, is a type of what the church will go through. We will go through our own Garden of Gethsemane experience, our passion. You'll go through a passion narrative, severe persecution, and the ascension, the resurrection ascension represents exactly that. And when Christ comes back, the resurrection at the last day, and our ascension into the new heavens and new earth. So that first beast, he will speak great things and blasphemies, and power was given him to continue 42 months. Whether that's a literal 42 months or it's representative of a short space of time, don't know. But I believe it's still future, that part right there. Okay. And another beast, I have beheld another beast coming up out of the earth. So again, my view is that this Antichrist will be a false claimant to the throne of David and king of Israel, throne of Israel in earthly Jerusalem. And he'll attempt to set up a worship system in earthly Jerusalem, right? Whether that includes a rebuilt temple or they make a brand new tabernacle, not on the same site, but somewhere different. And that's what I believe he'll claim. That's what will define him as Antichrist. And I believe that he will rule over the world. So all the nations of the world will cooperate with him for the most part. Most nations. It doesn't have to be all. Actually, when you go throughout the book of Revelation, it's not like the way a lot of evangelicals portray the end times, the very end, where just the whole world's going to be like under his sway and kind of everything's going to be like kind of this utopia. No, it's not going to be like that. There will be opposition, but he's going to smash it. And it's when they say peace and safety. It doesn't say they're going to have peace and safety. It's when they say it, when they think their plan is going to come to fruition to bring peace to the earth. That's when everything starts to happen. So they'll never accomplish what they set out to do. They'll never even come close to it. It's just going to be words. Because if you read the book of Revelation, there's a lot of infighting in the Antichrist kingdom. That it's not going to be this like wholly unified thing, but he is going to have the overall power. But it'll have little dust ups and brushes of rebellion against him. Okay. So this false prophet, this beast that comes up out of the earth, he had two horns like a lamb and he spake like a dragon. So he has this kind of like, it's an imitation of Jesus. It's a religious figure. Okay. Not that the Antichrist is not a religious figure. He is, but he's more military political. Right. But he has this false prophet. And some people will not like who I think the false prophet's going to be, but I'm going to say it. The false prophet is going to be a religious leader he's going to be the most powerful religious figure on the earth at that time, the most spiritual, the most influential spiritual leader on the earth at that time. Well, there's only one office that I can think of that can fulfill that role, and that's the office of the papacy. I believe at the time of the rise of this false Davidic Christ, who is Antichrist, will be the final pope at that time. Whoever's pope at that time will be this false prophet. Now, whether that's an anti-pope and you'll still have a pope that goes against him or whether that will be the pope, that's what I believe will be the false prophet. And you already see trends going that way, don't you? You already see the United States of America and even the leadership of many denominations, including the Roman Catholic Church, pushing the agenda of Zionism. And Zionism, basically, that's going to be the false messianism of the very end, is this Zionistic worldview, the Zionist world order, propping up this Antichrist in earthly Jerusalem, the church handing over the keys of the kingdom to modern day Israel and the Jews, saying, you guys are the chosen people. We need to learn from you. That's the false messianism of the last days. And all the churches are going along with it. He exerciseth all the power of the first beast before him and causeth the earth and them that dwell therein to worship the first beast whose deadly wound was healed. So this false prophet his whole goal is to cause the earth to honor the first beast. The Antichrist is what? The legitimate Davidic king. And he doeth great wonders so that he maketh fire come down from heaven on earth in the sight of men. He's going to do miracles, right? He's do miracles. And he deceiveth them that dwell on the earth by the means of those miracles, which he had power to do in the sight of the beast. This is why we can't be too impressed with miracles, because that's going to be what deceives people into worshiping the Antichrist. Which he had power to do in the sight of the beast, saying to them that dwell on the earth, that they should make an image to the beast, which had the wound by a sword and did live. What that image will be remains to be seen. Okay. And he had power to give life unto the image of the beast, that the image of the beast should both speak and cause that as many would not worship the image of the beast should be killed. Now, one theory is that image of the beast is a union of church and state, meaning that there will be that it's the state dispensing religious law, legislative law in terms of religion. Because the image of the beast speaks, right? And he causes many would not worship the image of the beast should be killed. Noahide laws, right? Noahide laws. By believing in the divinity of Christ, being put to death. So look at what they're already trying to do. A lot of these Christian influencers are already telling people don't say Christ is king because it offends the Jays. So the image of the beast union of the church and the state, the false prophet system, religious system, and the state, the military political system of which the antichrist rules over. And he causeth all, both small and great, rich and poor, free and bond, to receive a mark in their right hand or in their foreheads, and that no man might buy or sell save he that had the mark or the name of the beast or the number of his name. Okay, so that mark is primarily spiritual, right? God cares about our worship, but I believe, especially with the technology we have, that there will be a physical application to that. But that physical mark will only confirm what has already been spiritually decided within you. And it's going to be about worship in the last days. The very end. We're already in the last days, but the very end, the latter times, it's going to be all about worship. Who do you worship? The Antichrist or Christ? It's a battle of kingship. Here's wisdom. And a lot of people think, oh, I can't see Christians worshiping the Antichrist because they have this very comic book understanding of the book of Revelation. But when you bring it down to its the context of kingship and what the controversy is, it's very easy to see Christians fall for that. Here is wisdom. Let him that hath understanding count the number of the beast, for it is the number of a man, and his number is 666. And I love the note here. Because I believe the numbers in the book of Revelation represent principles, more so than trying to figure out what they calculate out to. I like this study note regarding the 666 in this Bible. The number could refer to the economic power of an idolatrous king, being Solomon's annual revenue of gold, 1 Kings 10:14, cross-reference, I think it's 1 Kings 11:5-7, but in a book dominated by sevens, representing completeness, 666 likely shows that evil tyrants fall short of divine perfection despite their aspirations to be gods, having merely the number of a man. So it's interesting that that's what King Solomon at times fell into idolatry and loved material possessions. That was his annual revenue of gold. It's interesting. Anyways, I'll stop there. I'll cover Babylon and Revelation 17 and 18 on another video. Hail Christ, hail victory.